When Vladimir Putin ordered the invasion of Ukraine, he repeatedly said it was, in part, a response to NATO's expansion. 2 months on, there's a good chance his invasion will lead to Russia's land border with NATO doubling in length. Because just as Ukraine borders Russia, so does Finland. And Finland may soon join NATO.
I won't give any kind of timetable when we will make our decisions, but I think it will happen quite fast, within weeks, not within months.
That's the current Finnish Prime Minister. This former Prime Minister goes further.
I think that Finland and most possibly Sweden as well will become members of NATO by the end of this year.
And that would be a moment of huge significance. NATO is already the world's biggest military alliance. Its headquarters are in Brussels, and its 30 members include the US, the UK, Germany and France. Some other members are in Eastern Europe. They're here in light purple. They joined after the collapse of the Soviet Union, much to Vladimir Putin's fury.
We won't move 1 inch towards the east, they told us in the 1990s. And what happened? They deceived us. They brazenly tricked us.
NATO denies its expansion is a threat, but that's how Russia sees it. And that expansion may be about to continue. Finland's already a member of the EU and it cooperates with NATO. And while it's unofficially neutral in military terms, it is a military player. Most men in Finland do military service. Official statistics show a wartime strength of 280,000 soldiers and 900,000 reservists. And the Finnish Defence Forces describe themselves as the backbone of our society. Finland's military strategy had felt settled.
The majority of Finns have been quite satisfied with our security solutions. Nothing bad has happened for decades.
But now we have Vladimir Putin's intervention. In February, Russia showed the world it would attack a neighbour, and that changed the equation for Finland. A recent poll found 62% of Finns support joining NATO. In 2017, it was 21%. No doubt Finns are aware of NATO's Article 5, which states an attack against one or several of its members is considered as an attack against all. In other words, NATO membership offers Finland the security of collective defence. And just as for Ukraine, the present and the past informs how Finland views Russia. Ukraine declared independence from the Soviet Union in 1991. Finland declared independence from Russia in 1917. But in 1939, the Soviet Union invaded Finland. It was met with fierce resistance. And while it would retreat, it kept nearly 10% of Finnish territory. Then, after the Second World War, Finland and the Soviet Union signed a friendship treaty. And the neutrality that came with that has been the basis of Finland's military strategy since. Now, though, there's a reassessment.
Finland is not facing an immediate military threat. But we must look to the future as well. Finland must be prepared for the use or the threat of use of military force against it, as well as for political pressure.
Being prepared may involve being in NATO, but Finland knows that brings risks. A recent report to the Finnish Parliament notes this could lead to increased tension on the border between Finland and Russia and would move the NATO alliance closer to strategically important areas in Russia. And that is an issue for the Russian government. The Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov says it would have to rebalance the situation with its own measures if Finland and Sweden join. He also warned that further expansion will not bring additional security to the European continent. And Finland is listening to this. Here's the Prime Minister again.
Of course, there are many risks, and we have to be prepared for all kind of actions from Russia. Hybrid threats, cyber attacks, different kind of influencing from Russia's side.
Finland and Sweden also know that if they ask, few expect NATO to say no.
There's a sense that why would you want these two pro-European members of the EU, flourishing democracies, strong armies outside of NATO if you can have them in? I think there's no real dispute.
All of which means there's a renewed focus on this part of Europe, as the BBC's John Simpson described in March.
This could one day be the border between NATO and Russia. It's the precise opposite of what Russia wanted.
And it's an outcome that could happen within months.